This is the Dery Bros TribeCast, a podcast for diehard Cleveland Indians fans. Presented to you by waitingfornextyear.com. Now, here are the hosts, Matt and Todd Dery.
All right, the TribeCast is back for another week. What's going on, everybody? Matt Dery, Todd Dery, the Dery Bros TribeCast. Final week of the regular season. Can you believe we made it here? Late September, Tribe on the road for the White Sox and Nationals. A huge win on Sunday night to get back to even with the Rays. The battle for the second wild card rages on. Todd, 6 games left, and boy, last night was a big-time win, and that one was needed. A blowout against the Phillies, and Rays lose. Red Sox finally help us out, but this is pretty exciting down the stretch.
I don't know how much more of this I can take, to be honest with you. I don't know if I can take another week of these. These 3 games, well, at least last night was a laugher, and we got to actually, after when they scored all the runs, but we got to at least kind of relax. And, you had the Browns game on at the same time, obviously. But it was the Saturday game took a couple years off my life, I think, when the Bryce Harper 3-run homer off of volley. And I will say that we are definitely in pennant race baseball, because Tito's managing differently with his pitchers. He is not letting these starting pitchers go as deep as he normally would. He's going to his key pen guys in earlier roles. And, I think he is managing the way he should be managing right now, minus playing Ryan Flaherty.
92 wins, Todd. Think about that. And having to scratch and claw. And I looked at the National League. By the way, we're brought to you by the Center for Advanced Dentistry, and you hear us on waitingfornextyear.com. But you look at some of the records of some of the National League teams that are in, and the wild card teams, and the Nationals and Brewers fighting, and you look up and you go, everything that we've been through this year, everything that the Tribe has been through this year, to sit at 92 wins, and I know they went 18-1 against the Tigers, but don't give me that BS about that. They're playing who's on their schedule. It's been kind of a remarkable year. Maybe, just maybe, they catch a break. They get Jose Ramirez back Tuesday. He hits, and we get in and make some noise. It's possible.
The people that poo-poo, they beat the Tigers. Do you know how hard it is to beat a team 17 times in a row? Do you know how hard it is to beat a team 18 of 19? It's never happened. This is the first time it's happened.
Right.
So I know the Tigers stink, okay? But the Twins didn't beat them 18 times. I mean, you know what I mean? The Yankees and the Orioles, I think the Yankees beat the Orioles 17 times this year, right?
I believe 17-2, yeah.
Yeah, but the Red Sox didn't beat the Orioles that many times. The Rays didn't. You could go on and on. I mean, it's an impressive feat. But like you said, you can only play who's in front of you on your schedule. And this week coming up, that schedule is going to get a little bit tougher. You got the White Sox and the Phillies. The White Sox and the Nationals. But This team battled all year long. We were down on them. It feels like this year more than any, people were down on them almost all year long. But yet here they are, like you said, 92 wins. If they don't win another game, which there's no way they're losing the last 6. But I said going into last week on last week's pod, I needed 10-2 for us to get to the playoffs. So they did the first part going 5-1. And now they got to go 5-1 again this week. And that another 5 wins will put them at 96 wins. And you and I would sign up for 96 wins any day of the week.
It'd be impressive. And, like you said, all the injuries, Kluber situation, Carrasco, then you go through the, even last night I was listening a little bit to Boog Shambi and Chris Singleton, who were just awesome on ESPN Radio. And they were talking about, hey, look, the Indians even lost Tyler Naquin. And people are going to go, well, yeah, what is he, a 3rd, 4th outfielder? No, he was pretty darn valuable. And, you've had to play Greg Allen mostly every day, and, he's fine. But, he makes a play or two once in a while. But the adversity has been there. The Indians have trudged through it. Now, all of a sudden, Carrasco's starting to feel it a little bit. And last night, yes, the 2+ innings was awesome out of the pen. That was the old Alexi Agondo role.
Alexi!
Yeah, that's right. And Saturday night was such a downer because the Red Sox blow the game to the Rays at the same time the Indians are getting the doors blown off them by the Phillies, and it looked over. Now all of a sudden, like you said, 3 with the White Sox, which still scares me, and we'll go through the pitching matchups. 3 with the Nationals. And the Rays get today, Monday, as we record this, Red Sox, 2 with the Yankees, and then 3 in Toronto. But it's never easy on that last weekend of the year to be playing a team in that dome. You never know. You never know. I like the Indians' chances. I do. I feel good about it today, better than I felt about it 2 days ago.
The Rays are just, every time you think, they walked off 3 games in a row. The Red Sox blew 2 games to them in a row. Every time we thought we had them, and Mitch Moreland was the real MVP this weekend. I mean, that guy just kept coming up with big home runs every time the Red Sox needed it, and we needed the Rays to lose. And then, the famous now fired Dave Dombrowski, who's never put together a good bullpen in his life, that the Red Sox bullpen just couldn't come through, for us, which totally sucked. But, it's going to be all hands on deck the rest of the way. It's going to be very interesting the way things are lined up. We were talking a minute ago about the injuries and all that stuff. I saw this stat. So the games missed this year. So Lindor missed 19 games to start the season. Carrasco missed 80. Jose Ramirez, 41. Jason Kipnis, 46. Tyler Naquin, 78. Brad Hand, 10. Corey Kluber, 138. Mike Clevenger, 71. Okay? If I told you at the beginning of the year and I gave you that list, you'd say, yeah, we'll be lucky to reach 500. That's an amazing number of games missed by the core guys. So
Core 4?
The core 4. Yeah. Yeah, so, again,
Bubba Ventrone?
A chance. Yeah, all you can ask for is a chance. It's the last week of the season, and you're right there. And if they take care of business, they should be good. I know it's 6 games on the road, and I know those last 3 against the Nationals could, the Nationals need to keep winning. Very important that we all should be rooting for the Nationals to win every game in their next series, because the less important those games are, the better, especially when, and I know you'll get into the pitching matchups, when you look at who's coming potentially Saturday and Sunday.
Well, and that's the thing, too. The Nationals are playing 5 games in 4 days coming up with the Phillies. Or maybe it's 4 games in 3 days. They've got a bunch coming up against Philadelphia, and that's a rivalry. Whatever else, Washington is even with the Brewers for the top wild card spot. Those 2 teams are going to be in the NL wild card. The Cubs are done, and that's a real shame, by the way.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Peace. And then those back-to-back homers by the Cardinals, by the way, over the Cubs this weekend with Molina and was it Bader hit the second one?
Off of they kept, they have nobody in their bullpen that they care to use these days. So left Yu Darvish out there, and he died.
Yeah, and then Kimbrel was the one that served those 2 up. That was unbelievable.
Oh, I was thinking of the other game that happened. Oh, by the way, the Phillies and Nats play today, 2 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday.
Okay, so I was right. So if it's 5 games in 4 days.
5 in 4 days, yeah.
So, but look, I mean, the Indians. Are they, last night was kind of a mirage, let's be honest. They're not going to put up a 10-burger every game. And, that was fun. But it all kind of started with Oscar Mercado. And, there will be people that make the argument, well, look, if they would just had him up here at the beginning of the fucking season, then maybe we wouldn't be in this predicament, But you could also play the devil's advocate. The seasoning that he got in Columbus to get his confidence at the same spot there where it was during the spring has kind of jettisoned him up to the bigs where he's had success. But my God, that 3-run home run Sunday night, as big a hit as they've had all year.
He also had a big homer earlier in the week in a very similar situation, and I can't think of the game it was off the top of my head, but he hit a 2-run homer in a similar situation. I was having this conversation with Ags this weekend, actually, and he was texting with his brother about it and about whether or not had Mercado come up sooner. And his brother's opinion was what you said. Maybe the seasoning was better for him and they know what they're doing. My opinion, and I looked it up because we were having this conversation, he did not come up until May 14th. So that was 6 weeks where they did not have him and the offense was sputtering so bad and he was killing it in AAA. If they brought him up May 1st and it was 1 extra game, you could have had something there. Listen, it's the old, if my grandma had balls, she'd be my grandpa, but I really think that could have and should have brought him up at least a couple weeks earlier. I didn't want him to break camp with the team because I didn't think he was ready, and they were not going to play him every day. And I felt like if he's going to need to play every day, so he can hang, the old Tito April in Cleveland routine. But I thought it was the right decision to keep him down. But in the meantime, where would they be without him? This last 3 weeks, he has been as good of, if not the best offensive threat they've had in clutch situations. He and Carlos have just been absolutely killing it. It's like one of them's getting on base and the other one's coming home. It's really, really great. What a steal this trade was last year. It went totally under the radar. No one knew who Oscar Mercado was. And here we are. He's our starting center fielder of the future. And the guy's just been carrying the offense these last 3 weeks.
No, he has, and he's playing a pretty good center field. I know sometimes he misplays balls. He's a rookie. It's going to happen. You're the captain of the defense out there, at least the captain of the outfield, playing center field. And you mentioned, when Lindor's on, and he's had his moments recently, kind of up and down. Although he heated up in that in the game the other night against the Phillies, the Friday win. But Lindor, Mercado, Santana, Puig, and now that you get Ramirez back, and if this indeed is true, and he's going to play on Tuesday, which Francona's hoping he will. Talk about a quick healer from breaking a bone in your hand to being back out there. But that is just so needed because this lineup, then you throw Reyes in at 6. It's so different. Like you mentioned before, Flaherty, and God bless Mike Freeman, and he'll be there. He's had to hit 5th. This offense has just desperately needed one more bat. And so if Jose can come back and swing it like he was, that'll hopefully be a huge jolt to this team, and they can get into the playoffs and then make some noise.
Even if he doesn't swing it like he was swinging it, and he's half of what he was when he was hot, it's certainly an improvement over Flaherty or Yu Chang or whatever it might be. I think at this point with 6 games left, and if he's going to play in these last 6 games, I think you just got to play Freeman every day at second base, right? I mean, I don't.
Yes.
Enough fucking around with Flaherty, and I like Yu Chang, but I trust Freeman in there more. I mean, if we're facing Patrick Corbin, you want to throw Chang in there at second base, maybe. But the other thing is, I don't think Chang's played second at all since he's been up here. I think it's strictly been third, right?
I agree. Yeah, no, it has. It has. Yep, because Flaherty's played third and second, but Chang's only played third.
That's what I thought. But I just think that you just got to ride it out with Freeman at this point. He's been good.
Yeah. He for what he's been and what we thought he was when he came up, and we're like, what's this guy doing up here? And then the error-filled game he had, God, when was that? When he came up and made 2 errors in a game.
Oh, it was really bad, and I remember tweeting, "Get Mike Freeman off my team."
Right.
I do remember that game. He was terrible. Yeah, but he's come a long way since then, obviously.
Dery Bros TribeCast, the final week of the season, recording on a Monday, off day for the Indians. They head to Chicago, 3 games with the White Sox, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Then Friday, Saturday night, and Friday, is it Saturday? Is that like a 4 o'clock game? Is that what I thought I saw?
Yes. Well, first of all, we're like on major national TV this week again.
Oh, yeah. ESPN on Tuesday, I know that.
And I also saw Friday night's game against the Nationals is also on ESPN.
And then Saturday is FS1.
Saturday is so it's. Am I reading this right? Time zone wise? Oh no, it's local. Okay, so it looks like a 3:05. Oh, Saturday's FS1. Yeah, so you got ESPN Tuesday, Friday night ESPN. Oh, it's ESPN Plus Friday. Okay, and then Saturday's FS1.
Oh, ESPN Plus. Yeah, I'm going to pay for NFL primetime. Sorry, not happening. Everyone's like, this is great. Primetime's back. I'm like, great. What channel is it on? ESPN Plus. I'm like, I'm not paying for that. Yeah. Are you kidding? I mean, yeah, Boomer and Tom Jackson's awesome stuff, okay? But I'm not, Sheena Easton was cool back then, too. All right, I'm not paying for her music.
Sheena Easton.
Oh,
my God. You're really dating yourself.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's the first 80. Should I have said Queen or Bruce Springsteen or something?
What about Michael Stanley Band?
This town is my town? Oh,
Cleveland.
Man.
All right.
Oh, man. We could talk about that. We could talk about high school announcers getting NBA jobs. Anyway, so back to Hey now. Back to the Tribe. What about PK? What's he doing this weekend?
Okay.
All right, back to the Tribe here. But so how do you feel? How do you feel about this week? The White Sox, they scare me, but because the Indians just have not played well against them. What are we, 7-9 against them this year?
Have not played well against them at all.
But
they.
I like the. We're going to go over the pitching matchups, but it's not like they're facing Giolito or Lopez or Nova. So the Indians are catching a break in that department.
Well, it looks to me, and if I have this correct, we're going to be facing two lefties, and
correct.
That's great because then you can play Luplow. The Luplow hitting in between Reyes and Puig.
You mean Luplow?
Nothing like two national announcers calling him Luplow this weekend. Not one, but two. But you're also going to have your three best starters going against the White Sox. So I'm hoping for good stuff there. I said again, you got to go 10-2, 5-1 so far. If the Nationals are playing for something, I don't see the Indians going into Washington and winning 3 games. So with that said, you got to win all 3 games against this White Sox team. They're playing out the string. Like you said, no Giolito. We get to face 2 lefties, and you're throwing your 3 best starters out there. You got to win. You got to sweep this team. I know they hit the ball well, but it's got to happen.
These are scary series. It reminds me of 05. It reminds me of what year? 13, a little bit to an extent.
Had to win 10 games, and had to win a 10-game winning streak to get to the playoffs.
But playing some of these teams that match up pretty well with you, and for some odd reason, the White Sox, like you said, Clevenger, Bieber, and Savali for Tuesday through Thursday, you feel good about, no doubt. And for them, Hector Santiago, ERA of 5.65, Detweiler, ERA of 7, and Dylan Cease, ERA of 5.79. I mean, Cease is a hot prospect. He's not probably ready yet, but they've brought him up.
He shut us down the last time we pitched.
Yeah, but that Moncada, Eloy Jimenez is just a beast right now. He hit a bunch of homers against the Tigers this weekend. Not that I was paying attention to that, but they've got some guys that can mash, and in that ballpark, pop-ups sometimes go out. So bullpen's going to be a real key this weekend because I think they're going to play some tight games. And Tito, is Brad Hand ready to come back and close, Todd? I don't know. Is he going to continue to mix and match? That's a possibility. That's on Francona now to kind of hopefully use this off day to let guys know where they stand for this week.
I don't know what he's going to do with Hand, and that's my bigged question mark. He pitched the other night, and I was listening on the radio, and he struck out all 3 guys that he faced, and Hammy was over hyperbole with the folks. Brad Hand is back. And I was like, let's not get crazy here.
Was he screaming? Okay, was he screaming like Jim Donovan?
He was not. Come on, no Jimmy D bashing in my presence.
There's no bad. It's not bashing. I just said he's a screamer.
There will be no. Okay, fine. No, I am pro Jim Donovan as you are too.
I like Jim. Known him a long time. No, absolutely.
He's the man. Anyways,
high energy.
Yes. Anyways, it's going to be interesting to see which way these guys all go because. Like I said, last night or 2 nights ago, Saturday, it was the 5th inning, and he took out Plesac, because Bryce Harper came up. It was the biggest at bat of the game, even though it was the 5th inning. 2-on-2 out for Bryce Harper, and I loved that Tito put Oliver Perez, his best left-handed reliever, out there against Bryce Harper. Harper hit a 3-run homer, but it was
the right move.
The right move.
It was.
Yes. It was the right move, and people are very critical of Tito. I am from time to time for his in-game strategy, but that was 100% the right move to make. And I think we're seeing that in general now the rest of the way. He went to Carrasco yesterday. Plutko was fine. He could have left Plutko in, to face one more batter, but he did not want Plutko to face this guy again. And he brings in Carrasco. Carrasco gets that big double play ball and gets out of the inning. Everyone was fired up. And he, at that point, felt like it's Andrew Miller again. This is the Andrew Miller spot from 2016. I'm going to use my best reliever in the biggest spot of the game. Interestingly enough, by the way, did Tyler Clippard pitch this weekend at all?
Yes, on Friday. I believe on Friday.
Okay, I know he didn't pitch Saturday or yesterday. But
I love that. I love that man.
Me too. Maybe if the game was closer, he would have. But yeah, I just think that Tito's going to be mixing and matching and using his best guys in the key spots and figuring it out in the late innings. I don't think you'll see Hand used strictly as the closer. I think he's going to go with kind of a committee situation, if you will.
I agree, and that's going to be something to watch this weekend, especially if the Indians are on the road in a one-run game. Will Brad Hand come in? I think if the Indians were at home, I don't think there'd be any doubt he would be pitching them in the closer's role. I think he's going to wait and see on that. It's anybody's guess, but like you mentioned before, some of the guys are pitching pretty well. Simber all of a sudden seems to have found it. Clippard's been solid. Whitgren's been pretty good. He all of a sudden is in love with James Hoyt, which is certainly interesting. But
you got to have one rando reliever that he's using and one rando position player that he's using. So, Flaherty and Hoyt.
How about that Flaherty bunt last night was a shit show. Ooh-wee. That should have been a double play.
Well, just for the record, I will say that as much as I hate bunting, that was the right move because it's Ryan Flaherty, and I don't want him striking out or grounding into a double play. So I was fine with, I'm not fine with 95% of the bunts or 98% of the bunts. That one I was fine with, but that guy didn't execute properly. Just like Baker said last night, it's all about execution.
Do you? And what Freddie Kitchen said, it was all his fault. What?
Tribe Podcast.
Sorry. All right, Dery Bros TribeCast brought to you by the Center for Advanced Dentistry. Todd, when's your next trip over to Dr. Ben Hornstein? And tell our listeners all about your experience.
Well, I don't know when my next trip is because they took such good care of me, and my teeth are looking so good and so clean. I'll have my cleaning coming up probably in another 4 or 5 months. But over there at the Center for Advanced Dentistry, check them out, cfad.net or at cfad Beechwood. Dr. Ben was beside himself last night over the Browns, but he wanted to know what my predictions were. I predicted a Tribe win and a Browns loss, and I was correct. But Dr. Ben was ready this morning. He's an early riser. He's there. He's early. He's always got a smile on his face. He and his crew over there at the Center for Advanced Dentistry will take great care of you. So if you need a great dentist on the east side, the best dentist on the east side of Cleveland, check them out at cfad.net and tell them that you're a listener of the podcast, and they'll hook you up.
All right, so 92-win Indian team going to Chicago. Little day off today, which I think is good. And then 3 games of the Nationals next weekend. By the way, that Sunday game, I think we didn't say this, is at 3 o'clock. I don't know why MLB does that. Hopefully that game won't have any meaning. And the Indians have already clinched something, but I just have a feeling this probably is going to come down to the end. Give Tampa Bay a lot of credit, Todd. We haven't really talked about it, but when it's Nate Lowe and it's Tommy Pham and probably for some of our listeners, guys that nobody's ever heard of, it seems like they have a new hero every night. I just wonder, with the Yankees coming in this week and them having to go to Toronto, and the Blue Jays have some guys that can mash, that this experimental stuff with all the different pitchers that the Rays use will finally come back to bite them. That's got to be the hope, but you got to give Kevin Cash and the Rays credit. They're scrappy as hell, man. They really are.
Yeah, I agree. You asked me for my prediction before. I think we're going to be playing game 163 in Tampa Bay on Monday, and I think it's going to be a fly to Chicago, fly to Washington, fly to Tampa, and then hopefully fly to Oakland.
It's possible. It's very possible. Like watching the Rays walk it off, and there's 5 people in the stands the last couple nights, and then even the Low homer the other night, which cleared that tiny wall in left field down the line where it looked like it was 300 feet. It just drives you crazy. But to their credit, they come up big. They've, Choi and Pham and Meadows.
Adames, the guy had 2 huge. I think he had one of the walk-offs. I know that.
Willie Adames acquired in a trade from the Tigers.
Another great young player that the Tigers gave up on too early because in their way of trying to win a World Series, which they never won, and now they have nobody in their system. Like your boy Eugenio Suarez,
48 home runs. Whew,
yeah,
can you believe that? Pretty unbelievable. All right, so we mentioned before the Indians will face the White Sox for 3, and it's again, Hector Santiago, Ross Detweiler, and Dylan Cease. Ivan Nova's killed the Indians all year. He's not pitching. Reynaldo Lopez threw the complete game shutout on that horrible Thursday day game a couple weeks ago. He's not pitching. If it goes, it is going to go Friday. I would assume Plesac will start Friday, but again, they've had this off day, so they could move some things around. Austin Voth, the right-hander, would pitch for the Nationals. And then Saturday, Pletko against Patrick Corbin. And then if it came down to a huge game Sunday where the Nats needed it and the Indians needed it, Clevenger against Max Scherzer.
Yeah, that's why I said we need these games to not matter, because Corbin and Scherzer Saturday, Sunday is not exactly how I want to finish my season, needing to beat both of those guys. If we had a 1-game lead, I'd feel a little bit better than, if we're tied and we have to win both of those games. Oof.
And the Nationals can really hit. I mean,
yeah,
Anthony,
and we get to lose our DH for the weekend.
Oh, that's right. But Anthony Rendon and Soto, they're 3-4-5. Howie Kendrick's hitting like 350. I mean, they've got a good team. There's a reason they're ahead in the National League wild card race right now.
Yep,
it's a good squad.
Oh man,
we'll see.
It'll be quite a week. It
will be, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I'm always sad the last week of the year because it's the last, time I can sit down every single night and watch every single game. So it kind of throws my routine off. But I'm proud of this team. I really am. I'm not, like I said last week. If somehow, some way we don't make it, and yes, it's unacceptable. We should be in the postseason. We're good enough, I think. But I am proud of how this team has battled and fought through all this adversity all year, and they're right there. I mean, like you said, 92 wins. I mean, it's pretty darn good.
Absolutely. Again, like we said, they could end up with 96 wins and not make the playoffs, which is really, really crazy. But I'm sure we'll be texting a ton this week, and hope everyone's locked in, paying attention, and cheer on your Tribe, because it's going to be a fun one this week.
And by the way, we didn't even mention this. You know who we have to face this weekend? Yan Gomes.
Oh, just like the Brad Miller revenge game? Could this be the Yan Gomes revenge game?
I didn't even read anything. Did Miller say anything? Did any of the Cleveland writers ask him about his comments?
I didn't see anything either.
Bradsky?
I will say that him hitting 2 homers in a game that they beat us, he was probably absolutely loving that.
Oh, dude, he did a dead-on on that second one. He did a dead-on sprinter on the bases with this giant cheesy smile going.
You should have heard Hammy destroying him on Friday night. Oh my God! I mean, it was an epic takedown. It really was. He's like, I don't know how the Indians managed to win 90 games without Brad Miller. I thought they only played their best players. Like, he was destroyed.
Look. I mean, Brad Miller had a point. There was no reason he should ever have been DFA'd in the first place. He should, he probably should still be on the team. Phillies got him, and he went to the Yankees first. Then the Phillies got him. He's been playing left field for them, which is crazy. But he's a pro. But he was butthurt when they DFA'd him, no doubt. He had every right to be. Stamets was still on the roster. Moroff was still on the roster before Brad Miller.
Ugh. Don't remind me. Those were bad old days.
They really were. All right, dude. Let's get this thing done, and we'll be hopefully back next week talking about some playoff games.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be previewing game one, wild card game, or game 163 at worst.
All right, you're the man.
All right, dude. Talk to you soon.
There he is, Todd Dery. Matt Dery, Dery Brothers TribeCast for another week. 3 with the White Sox, 3 with the Nats. Let's go Tribe. We'll talk to you next week.